Hello everyone, how are you today? Thank you very much for visiting my channel. Today I'm going to share about the ground rules in academic writing. Ready to listen about the ground rules about academic writing in academic community? Okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, certain beliefs operate as glue to hold together the otherwise disparate community of teachers, students, researchers, and scholars that compose the academic community. You cannot write successful college level papers without understanding these things. Number one, belief. As both students and writer, it helps to remember that establishing belief is the job of the entire university community. Each general field of study within the university, and each individual student's writer in each particular course in that community. There is a necessary relationships among these three elements. You do well a member of this community. You want those who read your laboratory reports, term papers, and essay tasks to believe that what you say is essentially true. Your job as college writer is to persuade your readers to what you say is true, which introduces the next element. The next element is persuasion. Every serious act of writing is essentially an exercise in persuasion. If you describe an experiment, you want your description is to persuade your chemistry teacher that this is what actually happened. If you analyze the major causes of the Civil War, for example, you want to convince your history teachers that, yes, these were the causes. If you evaluate the merits of, let's say, a Robert Frost poem, you want your teacher to believe your evaluation. While this may seem obvious, you must remember that persuasion is also the goal of most advertisements and political propaganda. However, something rather important sets persuasions in the academic world apart from persuasion in the world of profit and politics. The use of evidence. So to persuade, you need to show the evidence. The next element or the next rule, number 3, is evidence. First belief, then persuasion, and number 3 is evidence. How writers create belief is largely a matter of how they marshal their evidence to support what they say. In the first place, there must be evidence to back up any assertions. Otherwise, they are unsupported generalizations. In the academic world, there is often a premium on evidence derived from books written by experts with credentials that can be checked. Depending on your disciplines, other sources of evidence might be observations, experimentations, statistics, interviews, or personal experience, each documented in some very viable way. The next is documentation. So the first ground rule is belief, second persuasion, and then number 3, evidence, number 4, documentation. To make an assertion in the academic community as convincing as stage possible, you should always provide your audience with a complete account of where you got your information, ideas, or evidence. More on these in the chapter. Hence, the importance of footnotes, endnotes, references, bibliographies, and literature searches. Essentially, your readers want to know who said what, when, and where. When you provide this information, readers believe that your students' ideas are buttressed by expert ideas and are more likely to believe them. In college writing, you ignore the documentation at peril. The next element is about subjectivity. In many disciplines, your personal opinion may not be worth very much. In others, it will be. In the more interpretive disciplines such as history, philosophy, and literature, you will generally find more room for personal interpretation than in the more quantitative disciplines such as chemistry, physics, and mathematics. Social sciences fall somewhere in between. To be safe, whether you make any kind of section, any discipline, use the best evidence you can find and document it. But in all disciplines, your own reasons and necessarily subjective judgment will at sometimes be necessary. If it is, just be sure to state it such, in my opinion, or it seems to me, and give the best reasons. Well, that's all about some ground rules in academic writing. Their belief, persuasion, evidence, documentation, and subjectivity. And I'm going to talk more about these ground rules in the next video, especially about objectivity, relativity, and balance. What are the objectivity, relativity, and balance? Please watch my next video. Thank you very much for joining my channel today and have a great day. See you soon.